Hello, Frugal Force. Once again, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty. And today, I want to talk about something. This one's going to be a little bit deep, so I apologize it's not one of those fun videos. But it's about two words in general. So before I get to those two words, let me do a little precursor to this. It is very well known that a particular liberal political ideology as well as social ideology has really taken over the majority of media. For example, games, movies, television, comic books, they tend to have a similar tone and message. So with that said, there has been an uprising against that. And a pushback, if you will. And I've noticed a trend that's been occurring with the defense against that pushback. And it's just two simple words that start a phrase. And that's, it's just. Yes, those two words. You will commonly see it. It's just comics. What's the problem? It's just movies. It's just games. It's just TV. What harm is there? But then when the rebuttal is made, then I ask you, why do they stop it and try to stop the message when anybody wants to say something against those ideologies or share a different view, a different thought, or a different perspective? If it was just TV, just movies, just games, just comic books, then why are these creators so big into trying to stop any message that runs counter to theirs? It's just. They would often use the term, it's just a small group of people online. It's just some idiot fans. It's just a blogger. It's just a YouTuber. It's just a few people making a lot of noise. Well, I ask you, if it's just a few, or it's just and it's inconsequential, then why are they trying so hard to silence and deplatform these people? It's because it's just. The pushback is on the rise. The pushback is growing. The pushback doesn't have the massive dollars and the high positions necessarily of power in the industries, but yet they're winning the war. They're gathering in numbers. They're growing. They're becoming heard. It's not it's just. They're afraid. It's more than that. These are not just fringe groups. That's why they're trying to silence people. Because it's more than an it's just. But they love to use that to try to diminish the message of the people that are not in agreement with them. This is a war against diversity of thought. It's a war against different messages. These particular people worked hard to get into the areas, or sometimes worked hard, and pushed to get into these positions. We see it in our colleges. We see it in our TV and movies and things daily. If you have a difference in opinion, a difference of view, you're blacklisted. It's hard to get into these positions. So I ask you again, is it really just, it's just? No. It's more than it to that. To them, it's justice. That's how they respond. It's justice. When the truth is, what they really mean is, it's just us. They use their tolerance, their message of tolerance as a shield for their true intolerance, for pushing and preaching their agenda and messages. I challenge you, don't take just my word on it. If you feel that you have a different message, contact one. For example, on Twitter. How long will it be until you're vilified and called terrible things, but yet it's just? How long before you're blocked and they have to silence your message? The comic industry is a great example right now. The comic industry has been blocking fans for a long time, for years. You go to their message boards, and if you said anything that ran counter to one of their artists, writers, and things like that, you were vilified and blocked. They silenced you. They took away your rights on those platforms. And over time, these people moved to other sources and found other people. Twitter and things like that. Now on Twitter, they're trying to deplatform, mass block, and there's many of them doing it. Many comic people, many people on TV, and they're starting to gather. And even now, when they're getting blocked on things such as Twitter, they're finding other platforms like Discord. So I ask you again, is it? It's just? No. It's growing. They're stopping. They want to silence that because we are winning. Look at the comic book industry, a great example. People like Douglas Ernst and myself, Captain Frugal, have been on those message boards being blocked for years. We've been on the blogs doing that. And now we've entered the video, and people like Diversity in Comics raised up and shot through and got immensely popular because they're saying an opposing message. Now, granted, we don't always agree on everything because we're not a hive mind, and that's okay. We don't want to be a hive mind. I've had people come to my YouTube channel and say, well, because you said this, you must be for them. No, just because you disagree with somebody on an issue or two doesn't mean we don't agree on more issues than the ones we disagree on. We are allowed to disagree with one another. That diversity of thought is a good thing. Other YouTubers have been popping up as well. We have Captain Cummings. He's another one that, once again, I might not agree with everything he says or how he says it, but he's getting that message across. I Love Comics preaches a great message of discussion. Let's share our thoughts. Let's look at these opposing views. We have other ones, Comics Division, Underground Geek, Just Some Guy. They're Conservative Nerd. There's so many that are coming up. And you look at the fear now from websites that have been backing the corner of the Just Us group. What I mean by Just Us group is like Marvel Comics, television, things like that have power. You have Bleeding Cool and things like that. They're journalists, and I say that in quotes because everything I've read from some of these journalists don't really have any facts to base off that. They're more conjecture and just random opinions to provide a message that they want to send because that's all they really have. So I ask you, since we're winning this war, it is more than just us. No matter how much they want to say we're just us, a fringe group. We are moving ahead in this war of thought, this diversity of thought. But I challenge you to stay the course, to be one approved. Don't go to their tactics of, I'm going to block everybody, I'm going to call racist, homophobe, and anything I can to stop the discussion. They do that because they know they're losing. Instead, do it with questions. Do it with tact. Do it with facts. For if we continue with that, we surely cannot lose. We might be pushed from platforms, like we've seen already. But we continue to grow in numbers. So I challenge you next time, before you see that, it's just a small group. Remember, it's not. That is their little way of reducing the value of others and their opinions. All right. That's all I have to say on this. I'm not going to pimp this with any kind of monetization push or anything. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I think this is an important subject, something we ought to think about and talk about. Be careful. It's not always the big words, the big triggering words, racism, homophobe, and things. Sometimes it's the little words that they use that have impact, like, it's just. All right. Well, please let me know your thoughts. And until next time, keep it frugal.